So we're back with another breakdown on pick and roll scoring, and we're going to be watching Haliburton again today. I think he's one of the best pick and roll players, especially late in the year. He was killing in the playoffs off pick and roll, so we're just going to watch how he scores out of that. So the first play we have Haliburton here in transition, and he rejects the screen. He does that quite a bit, and when you reject a screen, you want to read a few things. You want to see where, we call this the 2-9 guy, because you have 2.9 seconds to be in the key, and then you have to clear. And then you want to read to see sort of what the big's doing and what the strong side corner is. And we call it strong side corner because he's in the corner, the same side the ball handler's on. So when he rejects the screen here, he gives the big a simple hezzy, right? So the big always wants to go back to his man, or depending on the coverage right here. So he thinks that Bridges is switching. So Bridges pushes Haliburton into the switch, and sometimes all you need is a miscommunication of 1 second, and it gives you that open lane to the layup. So fast motion here, comes off that pick and roll, hezzies the big, layup. So we got Haliburton in transition again, and Turner's just gonna set this little up screen, right? Just a quick little flat screen to see what he can get off of this. Now the corner's coming up for a handoff, so this might just be a play they run. The corner comes up, Haliburton hands it off to him usually, but in this case, they set him up perfectly, right? So Haliburton fakes his handoff. Now, all the defenders are messed up because if you don't communicate, and if one person thinks that you're in a switch and they don't tell you that, they just assume it, these are the kind of shots that you get, wide open shots. And the big realizes too late. Like, watch the big down here. He like, oh man, I gotta go back to Haliburton to get this three. And it's just a wide open three. So sometimes, you know, faking a handoff like that, you wanna make the defense have to make decisions and talk to each other. So we have Haliburton again in transition. He got two little screens here. So it looks like they want to get the switch from Bridges off of him, but New York does a good job, right? You see how Brunson, he sort of hedges here because he doesn't want to switch. They want to keep the better defender on him. So Bridges gets back. Now, instead of forcing something, he's patient and calls his big to the screen. Now, they get the switch that they want. And as a guard, I feel like it's important not to think you need to over dribble if you have a big switched on you. And sometimes the simplest play is to just get them off balance and rise up for the three, right? You don't need to do anything crazy. So the big's hands down, the big's hands are down right here. Haliburton notices that and just takes a little sidestep for a three. Nothing crazy. So we have Haliburton in transition again, and Indiana's really trying to get that switch, right? They really want to get the guard Bridges off of him. But here we go again with that handoff play. They come off the screen. Watch this simple fake handoff because it causes the defense to have to make a decision. You have to talk. And if you don't talk, you're both going to be confused, right? So Bridges might think they're switching that. He goes through that gap, and Haliburton just rises up for that three, right? Just a very simple play. It's a tough shot, but it's one that these pros work on. So we have Bridges picking him up full court. And whenever you have, I've said this many times, whenever you have a defender picking you up full court, just have your big hang out like he's doing here, put his hands up and just sort of get back, it gets that defender off you. So he brings him into the ball screen, and the big here does this. So watch Turner here. He slips the second screen. So Towns thinks that Turner's gonna set this screen. So he's kind of already setting up for that little hedge on Haliburton, but he slips out. Now, Haliburton has all this space to work with. So his defender is trailing him, right? So he's coming for the side contest, but Haliburton does a great job of cutting off his angle, and Turner pinches Cat into the post, right? So he has a lot of space to work with. Sort of, we call him puts him in jail, right? You have him behind you, puts him in jail, and he has that layup. So the big does a great job of recognizing how he's getting guarded, puts him in jail, so he snakes across, and now Towns can't block that shot. So Haliburton is coming off another on ball, and the first thing you want to recognize in an on ball is how is your defender guarding you, and how is the big man guarding you. So he's coming off this. The big is in a drop, which means he's trying to retreat back so the guard can force him into a tough, like, contested pull-up. So the big's in a drop. Now, one thing you can do if this side's empty, like it is here, because there's two sides over here, there's two guys over in this corner and one guy over here, the snake, we call it a snake, it's often open because there's so much space over there. And you just rise up and get to your spot, right? Haliburton notices this. He notices that the big's in a drop, sets a good screen, snakes it across, gets to the elbow, and shoots it. Doesn't do anything fancy or extra, just gets to his spot. So have another screen, right? Now this time they mess up the coverage. So Brunson and Bridges, they might think that they're switching. I'm not too sure right here, but either way, you have the big hugged up right here, and Brunson is thinking Bridges is gonna get back in front, but maybe Bridges thinks that they're gonna switch. Either way, the lane is too open. Now, his reads as he gets into the lane is if either one of these players collapse and get into that help side, he'll have a kick out. And if they don't, the defender's too late, right? You're already up into your shot. So reading pick and roll, you just have to keep it simple. You have to realize what your defender's doing. You have to realize what the defender guarding the screen's doing, and then you just make your reads based off of that. You don't have to overcomplicate the situation and think you have to over dribble. No, you just have to make the smart read out of it. So we'll go over one more. All right, so this is enough. So watch this ghost screen here. So they ghost screen quite a bit because it causes confusion. And Brunson thinks that the screen's coming and they're gonna switch. So all you need is that little indecision, and Haliburton works on this shot and you're gonna shoot it, right? So fast motion, it's hard to communicate a ghost screen because you're assuming that they're gonna make contact, but ghost screen gets right into a shot, tray ball.